Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Heart of the Woods Part 8. We're playing today after having quite the episode last time. My headphones are giving me a rooster tail. There we go. Way better. So, thank you for joining me. Poke the Totoro, because last episode it got real. It got real quick. Super quick. Just... Hi, don't worry. There's a vast conspiracy in a immortal being that might be or may not be Animorphs, who knows? And the fuck... Maddie. No! Okay. Do the thing. Do the thing with the stuff. While you're doing things with stuff, like, subscribe, come back and hang out. Because I like it when you hang out with me. It's not just me alone. I'm the same no matter what. I'll always be sitting here talking to myself. But when it's you here with me, then it's not just DaintyTank talking, it's DaintyTank talking with you on the couch, together, playing games. So, that's whole goal. Let's keep going. Boop, boop, boop. Load. The Awakening. So, we found that Maddie and Abigail can actually physically touch now. Because, of course, Maddie's dead. Ghost mode. But essentially, Abigail kept saying we, and we're about to go and find out who we could be. Abigail also gets to her feet without my help. Together, we face the doors of the church. They look like they've been untouched since I was last here with Morgan and Tara. I wonder how they're taking it. I wonder if they even know yet that I'm gone. It's quite possible Tara hasn't even come by the cabin. It could be days before she knows. Push those thoughts out of my head, though. Doesn't make a difference at this point. I'm still alive and cognizant. At least, in some capacity. And as long as that's true, then there's a hope that maybe I can get out of this situation. All I can do is hope and learn. Swallowing my fear as much as I can, I take the first step towards the door.
Should we go meet your friend then?
Yes, please! A few clouds darken the sky overhead, but are nothing compared to the maelstrom that I got caught in. The occasional flakes that fall seem serene, not threatening. Of course, they pass right through me. That's gotta be weird. Abigail leads me into the woods. I try not to pay attention to how I can't hear my footsteps in the snow or how the cold doesn't bother me. It's convenient, sure, but it's wrong. Oop. Wait. Yep. Two of us walk side by side, deeper and deeper into the forest. This will be the furthest I've ever gone, since previously I'd never passed the church. Just like Morgan a few nights ago, Abigail seems to know exactly where she's going.
Abigail, can you tell me a bit about what it's like now? Being a ghost and all.
Abigail's face lights up and she claps her hands together. Her steps become an eager skip.
Of course! I'd be happy to.
Oh my god, yes. She clearly means it.
Where to begin? I found it to be quite convenient personally. As I said before, we're not ghosts per se. Or at least, not in the conventional way.
Oh?
Which is to say, we're not dead. It's more like we're somewhere between life and death.
Weird.
You and I are now fundamentally bound to the forest and to everything else in it. In the forest, everything is connected.
Huh? She frowns deeply, puffing out her cheeks.
This is harder than I thought.
Oh? I laugh. I guess even after centuries, she never expected she'd have to explain all of this to someone.
It's fine. Take your time.
Because you guys got time.
Everything in the forest is connected. The trees, the grass, the birds, the foxes, everything. And that includes you and I, too.
Oh?
Connected? How?
Abigail shows her lip as she tries to think of how to explain it. Her frown returns, deeper than before. Finally, she shrugs.
Magic.
Magic.
That makes sense.
No, it doesn't. Pleased, Abigail nods. I still don't know what to think. I've just woken up. I don't know how long it'll take for me to process everything and accept it, or if I ever will. Everything she said makes sense on a conscious level. I'm sure I can ace a test if someone were to ask me questions about it. But when I stop to think about how it affects me, about how these are now the restrictions and limitations that bind me, I stumble over nothing and clutch at my chest, feeling sick. But it's an impotent gesture. It doesn't help me feel any better. How can I be dead? How did this happen to me, of all people on Earth? This isn't fair. This isn't fair. Oh, she's crying. Never wanted any of this. I never even wanted to be here. I can't keep my thoughts from spiraling. Every time I try to think about it, I'm just met with memories of dying and of the fear. Fear for myself and for the future of what it might hold. Abigail rushes over, rubbing my back as she coons in my ear.
Madison, it'll be all right. I promise. I know it's a lot to take in, but it'll be okay. I'm here for you. I'm here.
Oh, I'm here. She repeats those words over and over, stroking my back until the moment passes, dizziness fades and waves, and I slowly stand back up. In all, my little episode must have lasted seconds at most, but felt so long.
Madison, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine now. Or at least better. Thanks.
Her hand doesn't leave my back.
Are you sure? We don't have to keep going right now. We could save this for another day.
I brush away the notion.
It's fine. Let's just keep going. If I just sit and do nothing, I'm sure I'd feel even worse.
Yep.
If you're sure...
We resume our trek. The silence drags on for a while. Abigail shoots me glances every now and then, as if I'll disappear if she looks away for too long. No! Ah! Shoot. There we go. In a morbid way, it's kind of funny. I looked at her the same way not too long ago, but she was bright and radiant, and I'm dead, I guess. It brings the question to the forefront of my mind.
Earlier,
Abigail stops. I try to avoid eye contact.
you said something earlier about Tara. How it wouldn't be possible for Tara to even see me.
Correct.
Why? She speaks with measured words. Despite how excited she's been, she's visibly holding herself back. Like any wrong word would set me off again. It's not too far from the truth.
But I was able to see you, even before all of this happened. So why couldn't she see me?
Abigail lights up again, a look of pride beaming across her face.
That was projection. I've had a lot of practice. I'd be happy to teach it to you too, but it took me some time to learn.
I see.
Decades. Abigail laughs nervously, trying to hide her slip. We lapse into easy silence again. I take deep breaths, trying to distract myself from the hundreds of questions weighing on my mind, but my breaths feel empty, the lack of cold wind glaringly absent if I focus on it. so I focus on Abigail. She leads the way confidently. A passive smile rests on her face, and she looks more at ease now than I've ever seen anyone before. Every step she takes seems to push us forward, farther than any natural speed. The words she said earlier replay in my mind about how the forest will help take us to our destination. We pass through a tree, but when I look back, it's meters away, if not out of sight completely. Magic. Being able to simply pass through any obstacles we encounter makes the walk much, much faster. Even so, I automatically step over debris, or turn my shoulder completely to avoid scraping the trunk of a tree when I can. I feel the heaviness in my chest start to fade as we trek on. Abigail catches my glance and waves warmly. I smile back, genuinely now.
Did you spend much time in the forest when you were alive?
I did. However, I never traveled very far.
Oh?
Why do you ask?
I was just thinking about how you know your way around so well. It kind of reminds me of the girl I met here in the village, Morgan.
I've had plenty of time to see it all. It's simple too, once you know how to do it. As long as you know where you're going, the forest will guide your way there.
Oh.
I'm certain you'll get the hang of it someday.
So they're bound to the forest. Force an agreeable smile. In spite of everything, talking feels good, talking about anything, so I try to keep the conversation going.
What was Eisenfeld like back then?
Much the same as it is today, as far as I can tell. Quiet and isolated. We rarely had any visitors. Even news of the outside world, or the rest of the country, was slow to arrive. But I longed for it, for the stories that would occasionally make their way to us. Sometimes friends of my father would head into the city for a few weeks, taking the goods that we had grown and made to trade, and bringing back things we lacked. And they'd return with gifts for all of the children, my sister and I, or the little boy across the road. Gifts and stories about wondrous devices they'd seen, or about the marvelous people they met.
Her steps slow, and then come to a stop, and her eyes take on a far-off, dreamy look.
When I was alive, I always wished to see it for myself someday. Instead, I had to satisfy myself with books, and with other people's stories.
Her voice trails off, ending with a hum of satisfaction, remembering something, but not speaking of it. I wait quietly. It doesn't feel like the kind of moment that I should interrupt. Soon enough, she looks over at me, with what I've come to think of as her typical smile.
I'm sorry. I hadn't really thought about these things in a while.
Nostalgia!
It's okay. I hope they're not painful memories.
She shakes her head.
These ones aren't.
Good.
What about you? There are so many things that I want to know, but I hardly know where to begin asking.
Oh. Abigail points to the sky, devoid of any clouds right now.
Machines soar overhead day and night, but I've never known what they are.
Oh.
Or watching as Eisenfeld becomes more modern, but not understanding. I want to understand.
She looks at me expectantly, like I could quickly rattle off all of the major inventions since her time and how they've changed our lives. From the way her corners of her eyes glimmer with tears, it's clear just how badly she wants to know. It must be horribly frustrating. She mentioned machines overhead. She must mean airplanes and satellites. How unbelievable would it sound to someone that enormous metal craft can fly through the sky and carry hundreds of people? Or about cars. And how just about everyone owns one. I'd need another 200 years and then some just to catch her up on what she's missed. Thinking about that for just a second, I felt like maybe I understood her loneliness a little bit better. Abigail quickly straightens up, maybe realizing that she was being kind of childish. She adjusts her impeccable color and dodges my eyes.
I'm sorry. Again. That can wait.
You're fine. I'm sure I'd feel the same way in your position. After we meet your friend, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Or at least everything I can. I'm not exactly the best storyteller, and I'm not very good at explaining why things work, but if that's still enough?
I phrase it like a question, even though I already know what her answer will be. Sure enough, she springs towards me, skipping past like a stone.
Oh, would you? I'm sure you're wonderful at telling stories. I could tell from the way you read to me back at the church. Do you remember?
Of course she remembers.
Like I could forget. That's a day I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Is it? Why's that?
Oh. She crowds up next, close to me now. To be honest, she reminds me a bit of a film camera, zooming in and out, and then leaping past to focus on something else.
Well, that was the first day that we spent time together, right? And that's when you showed me your name.
Abigail goes very still. Several times she looks like she's on the verge of saying something, her mouth fluttering, or her half gesturing something, but every time she stops.
I suppose it was. I just didn't realize it was that significant to you.
Not every day you get to learn your secret ghost friend name.
Of course it was. That day changed everything for me.
Oh. I bit my tongue from saying more. Things didn't exactly change for the better. Deeper and deeper we go. The forest gradually grows quieter. The rustling of creatures underfoot gets less and less frequent, and then stops entirely. Birds chatter less, and then not at all. Even the wind settles down. Abigail is the only one who doesn't act any differently. She still hums to herself, or glances over her shoulder to make sure I'm still there. Like I have anywhere else to go. As we get further into the woods, the snow is thinner, and some places are totally without it. There are even a few patches of green, something I'm pretty sure shouldn't be possible given the weather. The trees must have been growing claustrophobically close together, start to spread out a bit more. I gasp when I see what's ahead of us. Whoa! A grove of immense trees, larger than I've ever seen before, lies before us, like the redwoods back in America. They're so huge as to seem to hold up the sky, totally bereft of snow. A few defiant branches hold leaves. They cast shadows over Abigail and I, and everything around us. The aura of life pervades the area. My skin prickles. Sensation is vivid, running up my arms like a spark. More than the church, where we are now, feels like a holy place, something sacred and primal. As we pass by, I have a distinct feeling that I'm being watched from all sides. The back of my neck is slick with sweat, and I brush my forehead as the pressure of being observed starts to hit me harder.
What is this place?
I don't even mean to, but my voice comes out as a whisper.
We're at the center of the forest now. These trees are the oldest ones here. They're the ancestors of all the rest.
Whoa.
All of the life in the forest comes from here.
I love this. I believe it. There's quite vibrance to this place. Walk a little bit slower, feeling as if I don't want to cause a disturbance. I trail behind Abigail, who seems totally indifferent to the atmosphere. Makes sense. She's probably used to it, and this place's luster has worn off on her. I can't help but gape. Without the snow that I've gotten so used to elsewhere, this feels like a wholly different place, another world altogether. I love the light effects. If you look, you can see and watch the light effects go across, which is really cool. Abigail leads me around one of the massive trees, and my jaw drops even further. There, crouched in a small clearing, is the forest spirit from the other night. The same one that stood in the storm, scared the heck out of Tara and me. What Oh my goodness. Wow. There's a bird's nest in its neck. It's almost like a gaping wound. Whoa. So weird. Somehow, it's much smaller now than it was then, although still several feet taller than me. Yet, one look into its piercing red eyes, and I know it's the same. It had been looking away, but it turns to face us. Its body creaks and cracks as it moves, like an old door rattling in the wind. My breath catches in my throat as I fight down the instinctive rising terror. Pocks and scars decorate the bark that forms its skin. Though it has a vaguely human form, its body is clearly wooden. Little trees wind together, interlocking the shape of its body. It regards me with a kind of indifferent stare, similar to what we first witnessed it at the church. The impossibly red glow of its eyes is so subtle now. Previously winding and dying trees look like its body is merely hugging itself. I look at Abigail to see her reaction, but she just watches the two of us with a slight smile, waiting to see what happens. That's when it hits me.
This is your friend?
That's right.
She acts as plainly as if she'd just introduced me to a fellow human, not a mystical creature. Abigail leaves my side to go to the spirits, and she nuzzles her head against its side like a cat.
This spirit is the guardian of the forest. It helped me save you, just like it saved me long ago.
It shifts slightly to accommodate her, standing a little bit taller. It makes no vocalization, so nothing close to speech.
I see.
I don't, really. Visions of its tall and imposing profile against the stormy sky really clash with what's in front of me now. But still, I know she's telling me the truth. What the fuck? I take a fraction of a step forward, expecting it to bare its teeth or wear me off somehow. It doesn't react, though.
Does it have a name?
If it does, I don't know it. I just think of it as the forest spirit.
I think back to how Morgan had first described it, as if the forest itself had come alive. Yeah? I don't think she knew how right she was. Its namelessness makes it feel even more wild and untamed. I can feel myself being regarded and judged by it, and I'm tempted to turn tail and run. Force myself to look up and to meet its gaze. When it stands still, it's unnervingly silent. It reminds me of a grotesque scarecrow in a sense. From my peripheral vision, I can see Abigail looking between the spirit and I, probably wondering if she should say something more, or knowing her, wondering what to say. I preempt her.
I've come to say thank you for intervening and for saving me. Abigail told me that you helped.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I can ever repay you. I owe you my life. Or, well, whatever's left of it.
I'm not sure why I could even offer a supernatural tree spirit to begin with. Its eyes watch me, impassive. I swallow the lump in my throat and keep talking.
I don't know what happens now, either. I'm still getting used to all of this. But, again, thank you.
Then, not knowing what else to do, I bow stiffly and step backwards. Still, doesn't react. Okay. The whole thing is awkward and uncomfortable, but as with everything else, I'm at a loss. I can't have a conversation with the thing, and the details of what exactly it did are sparse. It feels like a waste to have come all the way for just a few sentences, but I'm not sure he even understood those. It occurs to me that I have no idea how much the Force Spirit knows or even cares about the affairs of humans. I guess it must care a little, at least a little, since I'm here. The spirit turns its head to face Abigail, who smiles and then pats its side. She says something to it, but I'm too far away to hear what. Then, as wordless as ever, the spirit rises and lumbers off to the forest without a second acknowledgement. Abigail watches it go. Then she turns and faces me with a bright smile.
So what did you think?
Ha ha. She has all the pride of a child with a new toy. I stare at the spirit, still barely visible between the trees.
I don't really know what I think.
Yep.
I'm part grateful, part terrified, part shocked. When I saw it before, I thought it had to be a monster or something. It just seemed so ferocious and huge that I assumed it was evil. So, seeing it like that is weird.
It's certainly intimidating at first. When we first met, I was also rather fearful, but I quickly realized how kind and gentle it was, at least towards me.
I'm still brimming with curiosity over Abigail's own history, but she's made it clear that she doesn't want to tell me yet, so won't pester her about it.
Why wasn't it enormous this time?
It can make itself larger or smaller at will. The night that you saw it, it must have had a reason.
And you're able to talk to it? And understand it?
Not quite. I speak to it and it understands me, but it doesn't have any words or language. Some of its mannerisms I've picked up over time. We've had quite a long time to get to know each other after all.
That's a good point.
Right.
Abigail walks over and links her arm around mine. I startle at the touch, but more so how casual she is about it.
Ready to go back to the church? Unless you'd rather stay here, in the forest. I imagine you'd be more comfortable with walls and a roof around you for now, though.
Yeah, I would be. Let's go back.
Arm in arm, she leads the way back. Oh no.
God damn it.
Tara's fine. We're in Evelyn's private drawing room. Tara is kneeling in front of the back door, wiggling a paper clip around the lock. It looks like she's never done this before.
Tara, let's go. This is a bad idea.
I'm not leaving till I get in here. She knows something about Maddie. I know she does.
I look around the room. I've been here plenty of times, but never into the connecting study. Evelyn hasn't so much as opened the door to it with me in the room. Starting to regret telling Tara about it, though. If we don't get out of here...
I'm not disagreeing, but this isn't going to help. We need to...
Shit!
She says and pulls her hand away. Her fingers are bright red, and she holds them to her mouth.
Are you okay?
I think it burned me. What the hell?
Wow.
Screw this. Let's just break the door down.
She takes a step back from it, and it looks like she's ready to kick it. Put my hand on her shoulder. I really can't think of a worse idea right now. Oh, hold on. She'll just end up hurting herself.
Listen to me. We have to get out of here. Trust me.
Good. She doesn't move to kick the door, but she also doesn't seem to have heard what I just said.
If she hurt Mads, I'll kill her.
Tara vibrates in my hand. In this state, there's no telling what she'd do if I weren't here to stop her. She'd probably be lighting a fire in the corner of the room or something by now. I can't let her get hurt any words. Whew. I can't let her get hurt anymore, though. I can't let anyone else get hurt.
Listen, Tara. I've tried to force it open before. I think she has some kind of ward on it. No matter what we do, I don't think we're getting in there.
Not sure what Tara hopes to find in there anyway. Even if it's locked, I doubt Evelyn is arrogant enough to leave any real clues laying around in there.
There has to be some way in. There has to. We'll get at that office and we'll find out where she took Mads. I don't care how much weird magic bullshit Evelyn's got. We're gonna rescue Mads.
So they think that she's locked away somewhere. She still hasn't given up hope that Maddie's alive. I wish I could spare her optimism. I wish I could share her optimism. All I feel is guilt. All of this was my fault. If I'd never asked them to come here, no one else would have been hurt.
Tara, we need to go. Whatever burned you probably alerted Evelyn. She could be on her way right now.
No, we can't give up now. Mads needs us.
Ugh.
Tara, we need to consider the possibility that...
Tara wheels towards me and grits her teeth. I can't tell if any of her anger she's feeling now is for me. If it is, I can't blame her. She's been willing to face the truth of the situation, but now she has to face it eventually.
Then what, Morgan? That she just killed my friend? Do you seriously think she'd do that to Mads just for looking around the woods?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
My voice is colder than I meant it for it to be. I instantly wish I could take it back, but she still doesn't understand. I get that she doesn't want to face the idea of Maddie being dead, but she can't ignore the danger we're in. Look in Tara's eyes, however, says this is helping right now.
I'm sorry.
This isn't helping right now.
You're right. We don't know for sure yet. But we can talk about this later. Right now, we really need to...
Behind me, the door of the room slowly creeps open. My heart stops. I can't move. I can't turn around. I already know what I'm going to see.
Good morning, Morgan. Tara.
Oh. I instantly dash between Evelyn and Tara. Nothing good can come from those two being in the same room together. I have to keep them apart. Evelyn just laughs. Just the sound of her voice makes me want to run, but I can't.
You both seem so on edge. I'm sorry you don't seem to find my drawing room as relaxing as I do.
Sheesh.
Maybe it's time for some redecorating. How would you feel about a more earthy palette?
God. She crosses the room to the window and leisurely picks up one of the curtains, pretending to examine it. I can feel Tara behind me, seething, getting angrier by the second.
No opinions? You come into here uninvited, and you'd think you could at least pretend to be polite.
Now she glares at me. I could feel the temperature in the room drop instantly. I used to think it was something that was just in my head. I've changed my mind about it recently. It really is getting colder.
You never could, though, could you? You never could play along. Always so obstinate. You have to fight every step of the way.
Jeez.
Just like when you were young. Always cutting your own hair short. Because nothing was ever good enough for you. The clothes I bought, the food I made, and you had to control just one thing.
A rush of heat and cold crawl at the nape of my neck. A rush of shame. Evelyn's mouth twists slightly, just enough into a smile, and she breathes a freezing laugh of pride.
When was it you realized you couldn't even hold scissors anymore? And you ran around town begging someone to cut your hair.
Oh!
No wonder no one else ever wanted to be around you. I imagine that's why you had to look all the way overseas to make a friend.
God, that's so creepy. She shoots a glance at Tara, burying her fangs in a grin. She's not even trying to hide what she is.
And well, look what happened to them.
That's too much for Tara. She's been quiet this whole time. Maybe that from the same fear that gripped me, but now she steps forward. I held my arm out to prevent her from getting too close.
What the hell did you do with Maddie?
Ugh. Evelyn turns around to the window, barely acknowledging Tara at all, and stares out it absent-mindedly. Ugh. It's just her slowly panning across the scene. So terrifying. Ugh. God, it's miserable. Poor Morgan.
You know, the forest is a very dangerous place. Every year, it seemed, there would be a new death. Someone would go missing in the winter. We wouldn't find them until the spring thaw.
She turns around, the look of her face is so placid and empty. I've never seen anyone so completely devoid of empathy.
That's why they're off limits now. That's why we have the curfew. There hasn't been a death like that in almost 10 years. Something we are very proud of.
She turns back to Tara again. Takes a step forward. Somehow the room seems to get even colder as she does.
That is, until your friend.
Ugh, it makes me sick. She's so miserable.
It's honestly frustrating that she would ruin our record so selfishly. I wonder if she had any idea of the headache she was going to cause me.
She shakes her head. She's smiling again.
Enough of the bullshit. Mads wouldn't go out there and get herself lost. She wouldn't.
Unless she thought she was chasing you.
She's way too cautious for that.
She is.
You did something to her and you're gonna tell me, or I swear to God.
Evelyn looks up. Her smile is gone, and her eyes are as sharp as her fangs. Tara goes silent the moment those eyes are on her. I'm shivering now. I put my arms close to my body. God, look how tiny her pupils are. Like how thin those lips are. Just like, boop. The air seems to crackle with ice. I try to take a step backwards, but Tara won't budge. I'm not sure if it's out of anger or fear.
I've been so patient with you, Morgan. Endlessly patient. With you and your friends. A mother's patience never wears thin. But then, I never was much of a mother, was I?
Oh, that's terrifyingly evil.
No, don't!
Oh no. Reach out my hand, but it's too late. Behind me, Tara rises slowly into the air. What? Oh my God.
What? Morgan, help! What's happening?
Her eyes are wide with terror. Tears well up in my eyes. I have to do something.
Please, don't! You don't have to!
Evelyn's mouth shifts slightly to one side. She looks so disinterested. She doesn't even take pleasure in it. She barely notices us and what we feel.
How many years did I give you the carrot, Morgan? How many?
Carrot?
Eventually, you'll have to learn.
Just like that, Tara shoots backwards and slams into the wall, so hard the whole room shakes.
Tara!
She crumbles to the floor in a heap. She's not moving. Evelyn doesn't move as I run to Tara and lean down to look at her. She's awake, still twitching.
Tara, don't move! Just stay still! You'll be okay!
Well then, please make sure you put everything back where you found it. The maids have enough work as it is.
What the heck? My heart starts beating faster. The heat of the nape of my neck spreads down my back. But instead of the hollow pit in my stomach that's supposed to follow, I feel my shoulders stiffen. My breath gets slower, more controlled. The edges of my vision start going dark. I feel myself biting down on my own lip. I look down. I see my fists are clenched so tightly my knuckles have gone white. For the first time. I don't feel any fear. Just hatred. With that, she turns away. The room instantly returns to its normal temperature, but I'm still freezing. Her heels click on the hardwood and gets quieter as she leaves. She stops at the door.
Have a lovely day, girls.
Evelyn disappears and the door slams behind her, and I still can't move. It isn't until Tara lets out a loud groan that I snap back to my senses.
Are you okay? Did she break anything?
I don't think so.
Can you stand?
She makes it halfway up before stumbling. I grab her and throw her arm around my shoulder. She winces and lets out a tiny whimper.
Let's get back to the house. I've got a first aid kit there.
As long as I get to lay down, we can go wherever you want.
Of course. You can use my bed. Come on.
Okay. She takes a few shaky steps before leaning into me. It's a start.
I think you're gonna have to take the lead on this one.
Yeah? Whew. Tara does her best to help me get her up the stairs, but whether it's due to injury or shock, she's barely able to stay standing while leaning on me. Climbing a staircase is difficult, but at the moment, there isn't really anywhere else I can take her. When I open the door to my room, Geladura is in the center of the bed, cleaning her paws contemplatively. She doesn't look up at us.
Come on. Let's get you on the bed.
Half expect Tara to give me some kind of knowing look as she stumbles over to the bed, but she doesn't. She just nods weakly. She collapses face first onto the sides of the bed. Geladura doesn't even budge as she shakes with the wake. She acts like she doesn't even notice.
Geladura, move please.
No response. She just continues slowly raking her tongue over her paws. Ever since Tara and Maddie got here, she's been particularly obstinate. I wish I knew why. It's hard not to be frustrated with her, especially with everything that's happened today. But I do my best to just gently force her to move by climbing onto the bed next to Tara. Ooh, wait. That switched. Okay. Geladura finally looks at me, paw held indignantly in the air.
There's plenty of room on the floor.
Okay. Oh god, I love that animation of Tara coming up. Tara shoots back up, yelping and almost knocking me over. She doesn't seem to notice as she just stares at Geladura with wide eyes.
Did your cat just talk?
Geladura cranes her neck around to look at Tara and then speaks again.
No.
Her voice is languid and drips out of her mouth like syrup. Tara's eyes dart back from the cat to me and to the cat again, hoping for some kind of concrete response.
Yeah, I told you.
Her face lights up with newfound energy. The lines of pain that had creased it disappear in an instant.
I knew it! I knew I could trust you!
Yeah, I mean, you didn't get that from, like, Evelyn just kind of crumpling you against the wall?
Sure, it was weird that she didn't actually talk, but I get it. Shy around strangers. That's valid, and also, big mood. But I knew it. I knew you weren't lying.
I smile. After everything we've been through together, a part of me feels warm when she says that. My chest glows with the warmth I've only felt around Tara. And everything, it should be obvious that she believes me. But Tara's sincerity catches me by surprise every time. Geladura doesn't seem to find it as endearing. She rises methodically, then paws towards the foot of the bed. I'm worried about her. Every month she's gotten more and more cat-like, but this was the first time she didn't speak at all. And we're so close to the full moon now, she's not going to get much stronger than this. Can't help but wonder how much time she has left.
Geladura, how are you feeling?
She looks up at me with those bright blue eyes, alive with magic and intelligence.
I feel hungry. Did you bring me food, Morgan? I don't think you did.
She stares at me. The expression of her cat face is unreadable.
I didn't. I'm sorry, Geladura. It's been a difficult morning.
I look to Tara.
You don't have anything, do you?
I think I have a melted chocolate bar in my pocket, but can magical talking cats eat chocolate?
No. Geladura regards Tara silently, her white tail swishing slowly across the bedsheets. Then, without saying anything or giving any indication of her intentions, she then turns and hops into the windowsill.
Geladura, wait.
Turns her head back to me and gazes into my eyes. I feel like I'm being measured. I always feel that way around her.
No. You wait.
She turns away and sways her tail lazily.
I will be back.
Okay. And with that, she leaps from the window to the bushes on the nearby tree. She slips through them like a rush of white water until she's gone from sight. Tara and I sit there quietly for a few minutes before she finally speaks.
Your cat is weird.
Yeah, a little.
You guys are cute. Tara smiles. I smile back and we sit there together. Geladura's gone for hours. I need to talk to her. Things have changed so much today. I think she'll know what to do. I hope she will. In the meantime, I tend to Tara. She protests at first, saying she's fine. I don't doubt she thinks that, but want to confirm that for myself. Eventually, I'm able to convince her to let me take a look. Her back is essentially one giant bruise, but that's it. It doesn't look like anything was broken, at least. It's a relief, but maybe we were just lucky. Maybe next time, Evelyn will do worse. There's no telling what she's capable of. And I can't let anyone else get hurt.
So what's the deal with gelato?
I open my mouth to speak before again Tara cuts me off.
I mean, I know she can talk. Please don't say she can talk. You're gonna say she can talk, and I'm seriously asking you don't. I want to know what her deal is. Promise me you won't say she can talk.
I promise I won't say she can talk.
Tara nods.
Her name is Geladura.
Geladura. Tara stares at me for a second before we both laugh.
Okay. Her name is Geladorado.
Geladorado.
But why can she talk? I've met a lot of weird cats, but none of them could actually talk.
Well, it's because she's not really a cat.
Oh?
Of course.
Tara tries her best to sound like she's completely understood the situation now, but it's obvious she hasn't. Take a deep breath.
Geladura isn't a cat. She's a fairy.
Of course.
I don't know a lot more than that. I know Evelyn cursed her to be in that form. Her memories are hazy, though, and it's only been getting worse.
Oh, no.
She wasn't always like this. She's been around as long as I can remember. She only started talking to me when I was 12, but even back then, she's forgetting she was ever a fairy. I'm worried that soon she's not going to be anything other than a house cat.
Oh. Tara nods, seemingly taking everything in, and then she's quiet for a moment, thinking about it.
She doesn't really seem that helpful.
I nod my head sadly.
She used to be. I'd have never known anything about what Evelyn was without her.
I bit my lip.
For a long time, she was my only friend. She was the only one I could really trust. I still believe in her. I still believe she can help.
I look away. Even if I'm telling her my story, there's still so much I'm not ready to share about growing up here. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I was about to say, this is so much trauma to unpack.
I know it sounds like I was just a lonely little kid looking for a friend. But I promise she has the knowledge we need in there somewhere.
Tara starts to lean towards me while letting out a grunt of pain as she moves. I go to push her back down into the bed, but before I can do that, her arms wrap around me. She gives me a gentle squeeze and I lean into her in response. I want to hug her too, but I know that wouldn't be doing her back any favors. So I sit there and let her hold me, trying to trying to take refuge. It's a refuge in it. Try to remember that I'm not alone.
You don't have to make excuses. I believe you.
Good.
And I'm sorry you had to grow up like that.
Yeah.
It's their loss that they didn't stick around to see how cool you turned out to be.
I know, you turned out kind of cool. She pulls back and grins at me. Same goofy grin I've seen hundreds of times before. But it's so much better in person than it is on screen. That's exactly what I need right now. Tara and I wait out the day, watching dumb videos on the internet, trying to take our minds off things, if only for a moment. They take longer to buffer than to watch. It's dark by the time Geladura slips back through the window. She's quiet, but even if I hadn't seen her, I still know she was there. Something in the air in the room changes when she enters it, same as Evelyn. Geladura thinks they were close once. She doesn't know how, but I believe her.
Hello, Geladura.
Meowdy.
Meowdy. I'm stunned for a brief moment.
How was your hunting?
She looks at me, and if ever a cat could have had a self-satisfied grin, I swear she would have it right now. Her voice seems to luxuriate in it.
It was good, Morgan. Much better than your hunt this morning.
She tumbles into my lap and rubs her head against my hand.
How does she know about that?
I know much about Evelyn.
Ooh. Her voice is deep as stone and rumbles in her throat with a purr. She stops rubbing on my hand for a moment and looks up at me.
And Evelyn knows everything about you. What did you think would happen, cursed child?
Cursed child? I hate when she calls me that. I've spent years dealing with it looming over me. The last thing I want is her rubbing it in. Even now I hate that she's right. Should have known this would happen. I should have kept Tara from going to the office. But I never imagined Evelyn was that strong, and Tara's paying the price for my failure.
Evelyn is as good a hunter as any cat. She'll never let her prized vessel out of her sight. She's watching you even now, Morgan. And when the moon is full, she will finally strike.
And then, still in my lap, she curls up and closes her eyes. I'm not going to get any more out of her tonight. Tara doesn't say anything for a while. She looks contemplative even. But when she does speak, she asks the question I knew she would.
Why'd she call you cursed?
Oof. I wish I could lie. It may be the first time I've ever wanted to lie to someone other than Evelyn, but I can't. Tara deserves to know what she's involved in.
Because I am.
Tara just stares at me, half in shock. She quietly waits for me to continue. I hesitate a moment before continuing, regardless.
Evelyn is not my real mother. My real mother died before I was born. And whatever Evelyn is, she took her body.
Oh.
She's done it to our family for years. Geladura and I pieced it together from town records and scraps of my mother's diary. Every couple decades, she has to change hosts. And
I look into Tara's eyes. This is the first time I've ever told all of this to anybody.
And you're next.
Tara says the words I don't want to. I nod.
Evelyn's going to make her move on the night of the full moon. That's what Geladura says.
Close my eyes. I know she's right, but I don't want to admit it, even to myself. The full moon is so close. Then I feel a hand grip tight on my own. I open my eyes and I see Tara staring back into them.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, kinda.
And, like, it's really hard for me to know what to say here, but thank you for telling me.
That's all you need to say. Thank you for having conversations and communicating. Good job.
We're gonna stop Evelyn, and if it has to be before the moon is full, for whatever reason, then we'll do that and we'll save Mads.
Good luck with the Mads part, but yeah,
Well, stop her. I swear.
She's smiling so big and so broad. She sounds so confident. I want to believe her more than anything. I hope she's right. For the first time in my life, I want to trust someone. Oh, this is hitting me hard. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop this here before we get too far into the next part. I really want to see what their plan is. Where are they gonna go from here? Also, of course, the talking cat's a fairy. Of course. So excited. Subscribe so that way you can see more of this, because I want to do more of this. And I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye!